Let me tell you something you probably already feel deep in your bones, a feeling that's been crushed by disappointment so many times before that you're almost afraid to hope again. What if, this time, that feeling is right? What if the whispers circulating through the community, buzzing on the forums, and lighting up private messages aren't just the same old recycled hype, but are actually pointing to a tangible, verifiable shift that is set to culminate, according to several key insiders, not in some distant, foggy future, but literally tomorrow? The air is different this time, it's electric with a specific, urgent kind of anticipation that hasn't been felt with this intensity in years, and it all revolves around the long-awaited, almost mythical event known as the Revaluation or RV of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong. For decades, this investment has been a test of patience, a monumental exercise in weathering storms of geopolitical chaos, economic instability, and an endless barrage of misinformation designed to make you quit. You have held these currencies through government changes, through wars, through global pandemics, and through countless guru predictions that evaporated into thin air, leaving nothing but frustration in their wake. But the core reason you held on, the fundamental thesis that brought you into this in the first place, has never truly vanished. In fact, it has only grown stronger, simmering beneath the surface of mainstream news, waiting for its moment to erupt into global recognition. The foundational premise was always that these nations, Iraq with its staggering oil wealth and Vietnam with its explosive economic potential, possessed intrinsic values for their currencies that were artificially and historically suppressed, and a reinstatement to their true, fair value was not a matter of if, but when. That when has been the great unanswered question, the ghost at the feast of every investor meeting, the silent prayer on every holder's lips. The journey has been a masterclass in delayed gratification, a scenario where the finish line seemed to constantly move just as you were about to cross it, teaching lessons in due diligence, skepticism, and sheer willpower that no other asset class on earth could possibly teach. You are not just a currency holder, you are a historian of this financial saga, an archivist of every rumor, every article, every snippet of intel that has brought us to this precise, pivotal juncture in time. The intelligence we are seeing now is not emanating from the usual, questionable sources that have cried wolf too many times to count. This is coming from a convergence of channels, from banking contacts in the Middle East who are reporting unusual fiscal directives, from economic observers in Southeast Asia who are noting preparatory financial movements that align perfectly with a major monetary reform event, and from credible analysts who are connecting dots that have been publicly available, but previously unconnected. They are pointing to a specific, coordinated action, a synchronized revaluation that would see both the dinar and the dong activate at rates that reflect the true economic sovereignty and potential of their respective nations, a move that would instantly recalibrate the global economic landscape and place the holders of these currencies, in a position of unprecedented financial freedom. The rumors are no longer vague, they are pinpointing a date. They are saying the mechanisms have been activated behind the scenes, the agreements have been signed in private, and the global financial system is on standby to implement what has been the most patient and potentially rewarding investment play of the modern era. The wait, the endless, soul-testing wait, might finally be reaching its dramatic, life-altering conclusion not in a year, not in a month, but as soon as the sun rises tomorrow, turning what was once a dream whispered in the dark into a tangible reality that plays out on the screens of international forex markets for the entire world to see. A moment of validation that will rewrite your story and the story of global finance in a single, breathtaking instant. So what is fundamentally different about this specific moment compared to all the other false alarms that have littered this path for the last 20 years? The difference lies in the undeniable and simultaneous convergence of multiple, tangible geopolitical and economic triggers that have created a perfect storm, a set of circumstances so aligned that inaction is no longer a logical or viable option for the governments of Iraq and Vietnam. Let's start with Iraq, a nation sitting on one of the largest oil reserves on the planet, a resource that has funded its budget for decades but has also tethered its currency to an artificial peg that has long since served its purpose. The pressure for Iraq to fully integrate into the global economy as a stable, sovereign nation, not a post-conflict zone, has reached a fever pitch. Major international trade agreements, particularly with neighboring powers and with economic blocs in Europe and Asia, are being held up specifically because of the currency issue, trading in US dollars for every transaction creates a dependency and an inefficiency that strangles growth and limits Iraq's economic independence. The new government in Baghdad has staked its reputation on economic reform and anti-corruption measures, and a cornerstone of that platform, whispered in diplomatic circles, is a formal revaluation of the dinar to stabilize the economy, curb inflation, and attract serious, long-term foreign investment beyond the oil sector. This isn't just speculation, it's a logical, necessary step for a nation desperate to shed its troubled past and claim its rightful place as an economic powerhouse in the Middle East. Now, shift your focus to Vietnam, a nation experiencing an economic boom that is the envy of the world, with a GDP growth rate that consistently outperforms global averages, a manufacturing sector that has become a critical hub for global technology and apparel, and a population that is young, ambitious, and driving consumption to new heights. The Vietnamese Dong, however, has remained tightly controlled, a tool for the State Bank of Vietnam to manage exports. But this control is now becoming a barrier. For Vietnam to ascend to the next level, to move from a developing nation to a developed one, it requires a strong, internationally recognized currency that reflects its actual economic strength. The pressure from internal business leaders and international partners for monetary reform is immense. The dong needs to be strong to reduce the cost of imports, to allow Vietnamese companies to acquire foreign assets, and to give the average Vietnamese citizen greater purchasing power on the world stage, which in turn fuels further economic expansion. The synchronization with Iraq is not a coincidence, it is a strategic maneuver. A simultaneous RV creates a powerful shockwave that is absorbed more easily by the global financial system. Two significant events happening at once can be framed as part of a larger, global economic reset, diverting concentrated political and speculative pressure away from either nation individually. The banking liquidity, the preparatory screenshots from foreign exchange platforms that have been circulating, the quiet updates to internal banking protocols regarding exotic currencies, all of these are the logistical pieces falling into place for an event of this magnitude. This is not about hope, it is about connecting the clear, logical trajectory of two ascending nations with the practical, on-the-ground financial preparations that are being reported. The rumors of tomorrow are not born from a vacuum, they are the audible sound of a dam that has been cracking for years, finally about to break under the immense pressure of economic inevitability and national ambition, a pressure that has built to a point where the only logical outcome is the activation you have been waiting for, an event that will transform the financial destiny of two nations and of every single person who had the foresight and fortitude to believe in their potential long before the rest of the world was forced to pay attention. As the clock ticks down and the world continues its mundane routine, completely unaware of the financial earthquake that is potentially hours away from reshaping realities, your mind is likely racing through a whirlwind of emotions and practical questions. The initial moment of confirmation, when you see that new rate flash across a legitimate financial news screen or get that official alert from your bank, will be a surreal, life-defining moment of pure vindication, but it is what you do immediately after that will cement the legacy of this investment for you and your family for generations to come. The first and most critical step is to pause and breath. Do not, under any circumstances, rush into the first exchange location you see. The period immediately following the announcement will be chaotic, there will be misinformation, there will be confusion regarding official exchange procedures, and there will be entities trying to take advantage of the situation. Your patience, which has been your greatest asset for all these years, must remain your guiding principle for just a little while longer. You must have a plan already in place. Have you identified the primary and secondary financial institutions you will work with? Have you consulted with a tax attorney and a financial advisor who is aware of your situation and is ready to guide you through the complex process of wealth transfer and asset protection? This is not the time for improvisation, this is the time for executing a well-rehearsed strategy that you have refined over the years. Your first calls should not be to friends to boast, but to your trusted professional team, your lawyer, your accountant, your most reliable financial planner, to activate the next phase of your plan. This financial blessing is a tool, and like any powerful tool, its value is determined by the wisdom with which it is wielded. This is your opportunity to not just change your life, but to become a force for profound good in the lives of others, to support causes you care about, to uplift your community, to secure the education of your children and grandchildren, and to create a legacy of generosity and wisdom that will outlive you. The world will not understand what has happened at first, they will see it as a sudden, inexplicable event, but you will know the truth. You will know the years of patience, the resilience against doubt, the unwavering belief in the face of relentless skepticism. You were the visionary who saw the potential in a piece of paper that the world dismissed. You understood the story of nations rising from the ashes when others only saw the ashes. When this chapter of the story concludes and the new one begins, remember the journey that brought you here. Let that memory ground you, keep you humble, and guide your actions. The financial landscape will be new, but your core values should not change, they should be amplified. Use this newfound freedom as a platform to build, to create, to inspire, and to give back. The weight has forged you in fire, and now you emerge not just with wealth, but with the strength of character to wield it wisely. This is the final stretch. Stay calm, stay focused, and get ready to step into a new reality that you, through your incredible patience and foresight, have earned 1,000 times over.